love seeing a musician tune his guitar at the same time as playing it. It's a skill, lads. That's an open tune. It's class. It's real skill, right, this will be my last story of the night, and I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of a summary of sorts.
Which one is this?
The Príomh Scéalta. So, I'm sure a lot of you know, or some of you might know, the great Táin is told at this time. Now, Táin just means cattle raid. There was lots of cattle raids. It was like the thing that you did when there wasn't nightclubs. It was just the crack. Right on the fucking cattle, what the fuck? I can only imagine, like, and there's many Táins. Táin Bó Fliadis is one out in Connacht, which a few other lads got themselves involved in as well. But the famous one is on Tá Bó Cúna, the cattle raid of Cooley, where the brown bull was driven off. So this is the story about those two bulls. You see, a long time ago, the story of those two bulls goes back to where their spirits came from. And that beautiful D type of a tuning was how we figure out how we should tell this story. And this is the way it should be told too, in D, you see. So the two bulls, well, they weren't always bulls. They were once upon a time, in the time of the Tuatha Danann, two shape-shifting beings, two men then, one named Freya and one named Rucht. They were two good friends, you see, because they were swine herds. I can only imagine they shared notes and conversations and had a couple of drinks and talked about how they managed to keep their pigs. I guess common interests. So Connacht and Munster were where these men were from, and when it was good for feeding pigs down in Munster, Rucht would bring his pigs down and they would have a great feeding in Munster, and when it was the other way around, Freya would bring up his pigs to fatten and feed in Connacht, until people began to compare the two as which one were the better of the other, and suddenly jealousy came between them. A rivalry that started, a hatred so strong it could only have started with love. And then, at a great feasting hall, two men appeared, two champions. They had shape-shifted and changed in shape into the form of two warriors. And they challenged one another, and they fought with fists first, and then with steel and sword and shield, clashing together. But there was no difference between them. They were matched in every way. Every time one tried to defeat the other, found a way out of it. And so they changed their shape. They turned themselves into battle crows, cawing and swooping and diving and clawing at one another, setting up such a shrieking every baby in Ireland was woken. But still there was not a bit between them, and so then wolves they became then, howling and snarling, snapping and tearing at one another. Their strength was matched in every way. In the forests of Ireland, two great stags were seen with spreading antlers, sharp hooves flying as they bellowed and reared and crashed at one another. Their strength was equal in every way, and so shadow phantoms on the wall they became then, darting and piercing, stabbing at one another. And any man who would see these phantoms flicker would die from fright for seeing them. And they shape-shifted to great sea monsters then. In the coast around the sea they swam, and the sea was swirled, scales like shields and teeth like swords, as they churned the ocean red and ripping at one another. Still, there was no difference between them. They were matched in every way.